It's a podcast. Welcome back, guys, to the Behind the Creator podcast with Sam. Anyways, guys, had a really great time with this podcast. Today, we're going to be talking to BeetleBombTV. Guys, this was a really fun conversation that we had. I felt like we actually got a little bit more in-depth around the world of content creation, which makes me really happy. We're starting to get more comfortable with making these podcasts, or at least I know I am. And I want to get a little bit more deeper with the questions I ask. And BeetleBomb, awesome, amazing guy. We had a really great time talking to each other. And I felt like I learned a lot from him, as well as learning more about his life and who he was as, or who he is as a person, not was. Guys, please give it up for the amazing BeetleBomb TV. All right. We are now recording. Beetle, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super glad to have you on the podcast tonight. You are a good friend of mine. We've been talking for few months now, like 10 months or something like that. No, like 8 months.
It's been 8 to 10 months, I think, somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere in there. It's been a really awesome time seeing you grow as a content creator for sure. So I think when I first started watching you, how much were you averaging back then? I think it was like somewhere in the double digits for sure.
Probably like low double digits, like maybe 11, 12.
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
Yeah. Now look at you. You're doing awesome, man. You're doing really awesome.
It's been a crazy ride for sure.
Yeah. So, what got you into content creation?
Oh man, it's been I can't exactly pinpoint a start to it. But long story short, I was playing GTA 5 online one day a few years ago, and something really funny happened in the match that I was in while I was playing, and I didn't really think anything of it. And then I was talking to my brother about it probably a month or so later, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this happened." And he says, I think you're talking about something that happened in a stream that I was watching." And I was like, "What do you mean?" So he linked me a clip on YouTube of this other streamer's cast. And sure enough, if you look at the text on the side when people are talking in game, my name pops up. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I was in somebody else's stream. And I didn't really know what streaming was all about.
Right.
So I checked out Twitch where it was happening, and that streamer unfortunately got themselves banned. So I had immigrated into Twitch, and they got banned after the first week I was there, and I was like, okay.
Now you're like, you were like, I'm lost now. I need to go on an exodus and see what else this website's all about.
It was kind of like a pilgrimage where I was like, there's got to be more out there than the one person I was watching. They could not have built an entire platform around one person. So I just went to the homepage, and that's where I found Warwitch.
Right.
And he puts on a hell of a show.
Oh,
Commander of Hype is a well-deserved title for him.
Oh, for sure.
So I found him, and I also found Misty, who they're kind of like polar opposites, where he's all about the hype and she's all about just having these chill, cool, fun streams. And I was like, I kind of want to give that a try. And I saw the communities that they had built up, and it really kind of tugged at my heartstrings. And I've got a background in acting and performing arts and dancing and things like that. So it was just another outlet for creativity, I guess. And it just really spoke to me. And here we are more than a year later, and things have just gone up, up, and up.
Yeah, well, I'm super happy for you, man. Whatever happened? Did you ever figure out whatever happened to that one dude who got banned? The dude who brought you over? No idea, man. He didn't go to YouTube or Mixer or YouTube or anything like that?
To be honest, I never really followed up on it, considering they probably got banned for a reason.
Yeah, for a good reason, probably.
Let sleeping dogs lie.
Exactly. So what was it like when you first started? What was the first BeetleBomb stream like? How did that go?
It was me, my brother, and my cousin, and I was more than happy to have the support. And it was very chill. It was probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I played Mega Man 2 start to finish.
Wow! In one stream?
In one stream.
Wow!
It's my favorite game. I'm not by any means on speed running levels, but it's a fun game, and I can get through it fairly quickly. So I figured I'd use that as my first game.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable. It's something that really stuck with me. In fact, we had our 1 year stream anniversary not too long ago, and we
Right.
actually watched that stream as part of the stream anniversary.
So looking back on then, were you like, wow, look how far I've come? Were you like, have you thought you've gotten better since then?
Well, not to sound, I don't want to sound like narcissistic or shallow or anything, but
No.
I am way better than I used to
Oh
be.
yeah. Yeah, no
And
joke.
I hope to keep improving and changing.
For sure. I think that's one of the most important things for a streamer to want to, in order to become successful, is that they need to always keep trying to push the bar for who they are as a creator and who they are not only as a creator, but as a person. So,
Absolutely.
and if you get into that field of stagnation, a lot of people get into that field of stagnation, especially when they think that they are doing something right, and then they keep doing that thing that is right, but eventually that thing that's going to be right will probably become wrong after a certain point. Not
Right.
wrong, but boring to say the least, especially for your audience and your community. It's always good to mix things up and always try to become a better streamer. So you've recently celebrated 1 year. How has the journey been? How has the life of a content creator been? Because I'm sure you've had your ups and downs, right?
Oh yeah, it's been way more than I anticipated. In the beginning, I thought, "Hey, I'll just turn on the camera and people start coming around," and it's way more than that. It's
Yeah.
way more than I bargained for, but at the same time, I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yeah, that's what makes it a lot of fun, right? It's like you don't know what it was going to become or what you were expecting out of it. And I think that's what makes it entertaining, especially for a lot of other people.
Oh yeah, you never know what's going to work, and the heart wants what it wants. So you could do something during your stream that you've put zero thought into. It's just something spontaneous that happens, but it becomes part of the backbone of your community, like
Yeah.
just like a phrase or something that you do, and just these things evolve over time, and it just takes on a life of its own. And there's some things you can control, and there's some things you can't control, and you just kind of have to roll with the punches and adjust accordingly and press on.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people have difficulties with for sure, is taking those punches sometimes. It's
Yeah,
how can I how can I avoid these punches when sometimes, you have to just take it right in the face. You just had to get punched really just in the face. It's that aspect of I want the easy road, I guess. I want to be the uber successful ninja level content creator, and I don't think that a lot of people want to put in that effort. Sometimes that's required to become a
yeah,
successful content creator.
yeah. It's a lot of work.
It really is. It really is. So you stream. How often do you stream?
I stream on Sundays from 6 to 10 Pacific, and I stream Monday through Thursday from 4 to 7 Pacific. And I know it's very short hours, but I try to be as consistent as possible.
Yeah.
And I think part of what's helped me grow is sticking to those time slots and just being regular and letting everybody know these are the times that I'm here. If you're going to watch, this is when I'm available.
Yeah.
And you got to stay on point and let everybody know when you're not streaming and if you're going to be doing a longer or shorter stream. So
Yeah, the
um,
communication with the community is so important, which you have an awesome one, by the way. I love your community. I love the people in there. It's always so full of vim and vigor every time I stop by. And it's just a lot of people talking. You have a really good moderator staff. So when building up that community, how did that, all of the people that you've been talking to, how has that affected you personally as a human being?
um, it's kind of galvanized my belief that there's more good out there than there is bad.
Right.
Um, th- I've met so many wonderful people, and I'm on no track for partner right now, by any stretch. Some of the numbers are there, but we're trying to get everything full steam ahead before that happens. But what I like to tell my community is there's still so many people out there that we haven't met and become friends with yet, because you need, what is it, 75
Yeah.
concurrence for partner.
Yeah.
So that's basically 75 to 100 people that are going to be coming around on a regular basis that we're
Yeah.
friendly with and talk to, that we just haven't met yet. And that's
Wow.
really exciting.
Yeah, well, that's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement. We haven't, there are the friends we haven't met yet. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. That's really profound, if you ask me. Goodness gracious, I like that. I like that a lot. It's a good saying because it's true. It's what a community is. It's a collection of friends.
Hmm. And
And
all these people that I talk to on a daily basis, and that I know now, and I bounce ideas off of, and we joke around and laugh and cry together. I didn't know any of these people over a year ago. None of them.
isn't it crazy? It is so crazy.
It's
Be,
fantastic.
yeah, I've been streaming since 2014 and I've known some of my community for over 5 years now, which boggles my mind. I'm like, I've never met any of them, but I've known them for 5 years and they've known
Right.
me. And they still come by and watch the stream too, which is like ridiculous. 5 years. And it's just so awesome and heartwarming at the same time
Hmm.
that these people who you call your friends want to just keep coming back and keep talking to you.
It's fantastic. And like I said, I can't wait to see how many more come around and what the future holds.
Yeah, so speaking of the future, what has you excited for the future as a content creator? Because right now you're mainly focused on Twitch right now, correct?
Hmm.
Do you have any plans that you want to maybe break off into YouTube or maybe some of the social media spaces?
Well, I've actually got a YouTube channel set up right now, and it's mainly just monthly compilation videos.
Right.
I'm not sure where I want to take that. Maybe unboxings and things like that. It's been
Ooh.
discussed in the past, so I'm not quite sure where that's going to go.
Well, you have an
But
awesome like wall behind you full of like amazing stuff. Like a lot of amazing stuff. So I definitely would love to see some unboxing videos for sure cuz you that wall behind you is crazy.
oh, that's all the stuff I've gathered from years of travel throughout the video game industry. So
Yeah.
it's kind of taken on a life of its own.
Yeah, how long have you been working on that collection? So you said years, but like what would like time frame wise? Like how long have you been working on it?
Oh, all the stuff I have behind me, probably, I want to say 2005, 2006 is when I started getting some of this stuff together.
That is
So it's
awesome.
been a long time.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. Good lord. So, what's your favorite piece that you have on that beautiful wall behind you?
Well, I have a custom laser pistol that I got
Ooh.
made by Blind Squirrel Props back in 2000. I want to say 2010, 2011.
Right. So this is when
It's a
Fallout sort of came back in popularity.
Yeah, this is right after Fallout 3 came out, and it was around for a little while, and it's definitely my favorite piece because it was custom built. There's none others I think like it out there, and it's kind of the centerpiece of my Fallout collection.
Hmm.
So it's fantastic. I love it. And every time anybody says what's your favorite, that's always the one that I talk about.
Nice, dude. Custom made. That's awesome. So you've been in the video game industry. You've been around video games for a really long time. When did you get started in video games?
I've been playing video games ever since I can hold a controller. So
Damn.
I just celebrated my 40th birthday in
Are you
February.
serious? Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yep,
whoa.
I'm
Let's back that up a little bit because you do not look 40 years old. I'm sorry.
That's the cold hard truth. I think it has everything to do with the preservatives and all the fast foods that I eat. So
It's keeping you young, right?
it is. It's fooling everyone. It's like embalming, except I'm alive and it's being delivered in delicious cheeseburger form.
That sounds. Now I need a cheeseburger myself. Get a cheeseburger and some fries on the side. That's what we should turn this podcast into. Actually, I'm thinking I might turn that into just a cheeseburger podcast now. So you've been messing around for video games for a really long time now. So what got you started? Like, what was the first video game experience you remember?
I used to play a game called Outlaw on the Atari 2600 with my
Oh,
dad a
oh,
long time ago.
oh, a 2600. Yeah, that's definitely way before me. That's for sure. That is way before me. So what was that game like? What was Outlaw like?
This is basically two stick figure cowboys shooting a pixel at each other, and then you move your character really slowly, either up or down, to try to avoid being shot.
Wow.
And it was very basic, but it stuck with me. And then they came out with another Atari system, and that was way better. And then I still remember the Christmas, probably I think 87, probably, where we got our official Nintendo system, and
Oh, I bet
it's
everything
all
changed. Everything
yeah,
changed.
it was all downhill from there, or uphill depending on which parent you were.
Well, I always find people's video game history very interesting, especially with how closely tied Twitch is with video games are a lot of our careers, a lot of content creators' careers are tied really closely to how video games are. So I always love asking people when they come on the podcast what got them started with video games and what got them into them as well. Because I always find that shapes who we are as a content creator and the kind of games that we like to play and the games that we enjoy. And so, what's your favorite game that you've ever played?
Mega Man 2
Mega Man
is
2.
always the one that I tell people when they say, "What's your favorite game?" That's the one, hands down.
Yeah.
And I can tell you how into that game I am. There was one time when um, my cousins were coming over for a visit, and prior to their arrival, I had been playing Mega Man 2, and I got to the part of the game where you face all the different bosses all in the same room,
Right.
and also coincidentally, my nose had been running, so I was wiping my nose and trying to get it to stop running, and I'm
Ooh.
concentrating on this game, and I keep reaching up and rubbing my nose, and it just won't stop running. So I finally paused the game, and I had a nosebleed. I
Oh.
was so excited, and my blood pressure had gone up so much
Oh my
because I had
God.
gotten so far into the game, farther than I had ever gotten before, that I actually got a nosebleed from it. So
Wow. Wow. That is dedication to the game right there. I love it. I love that. Holy cow. And it's just the fact that you were like so excited that you just completely ignored it and you thought your nose was running it the entire time. That's hilarious. But so what was the aftermath of that? Were you just like, all right, gonna deal with this nosebleed and finish Mega Man 2?
yeah, I had to put it on pause, and then the cousins eventually arrived, so I couldn't play the game anymore. I had to, I had to
Damn
hang out with
cousins.
family. Occasionally, you have to make an appearance.
Gosh, right?
So,
Damn family coming in the way
but
of video
I did
games.
the old standby. I paused the game and left the TV off so nobody would mess with it, and
Yeah.
went back to it a few hours later.
So with all of these video game experiences, how do you think they've influenced you as a content creator and as a Twitch streamer for sure?
Um,
Because you have a rich history in video games, a long, rich history that I think is really interesting when you delve into it. So when people, when you bring that experience up in as a content creator, how do you use that?
it's actually a good question. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think part of it is I've played so many games over the years, and I've gone through so many different evolutions of what can be played.
Right,
I'm a variety streamer, and normally variety streamers, even though they play a ton of different games, they have that one game that they like to fall back on.
right,
I don't really think I have that. And if I do, I haven't really discovered it yet or paid attention to it because I try to switch it up every 2 weeks.
hmm,
So I haven't really found that one game that's like, when I want to start playing it safe or just, get back to a comfort zone, I don't have that one game that I always go back to. I just
right.
kind of I just like to mix it up because there's been so much creativity and variation over the years. I just kind of just roll with that and play whatever.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot on the podcast so far. The variety streaming aspect, you get the community who are there to come and see who you are,
Right.
which I think is really powerful and really valuable as a human being as well, because the community that you build is so important, so important. And so, what kind of stuff do you do with your community? Do you like have any community days? Do you like chill out with them, or do you play video games with them on your off time and stuff like that?
We have a server set up for 7 Days to Die, and a lot of the community likes to play on there.
Right.
Um, but I don't really have community days all that often, although it's something I'm thinking about doing because I see it increasingly becoming popular.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually did my
And
first one today. It was a lot of fun. We played Cards Against Humanity, and everyone was just on the Discord, and we
yeah,
all
you
started
you guys
playing.
were having a blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, definitely. And I think that community aspect is just so important. The ability to be able to hang out with your friends, it's the friend aspect. It's not only creating friendship between you and the person, the community itself, but also creating friendships between everyone inside of the community.
Right. And I think I want to embrace that more. I want to bring more of the community days under the Beetle brand, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, and you deal with it a little bit of a difficult because you said that you don't have a lot of time to stream. So I'm assuming that means you have a day job, right?
Oh yeah, I work. So I actually changed the schedule of my day jobs to accommodate streaming because I don't want to stream really late at night.
Right.
So I'm up at 5 a.m. every day, and then I'm at the office by 6,
Whew, man.
and then I wrap up my day at the office at about 2:30. I'm home by 3, and then I do whatever I have to do, and then I'm live by 4.
Right, right. So, are you, what kind of work do you do?
It's boring office work.
Right.
I could go into
Oof.
detail, but I'm pretty sure everybody would turn off the podcast at that point.
Well, you never know. Let's delve into it a little bit. Like, what kind of stuff is it?
It's So the department I work in deals with escalated issues. So basically, what happens is the customer will get a hold of customer service, and when customer service has pushed them to the point where they're seeing red, then they
Ooh.
transfer them to us, and they say, "Okay, now you get to fix this."
Oh wow. You get the really angry people sometimes.
Yeah, but you know what? It's just a question of finding out what it is that they want and dealing with the situation with the best that you can.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
a lot of that carries over into streaming too. You got to find out what your audience wants, and you have to find out what works best, and you have to just work through it and find a solution to make it
yeah.
better.
Well, that's a really good connection, and it's so important because you also deal with a lot of trolls for sure too. So having that patience, I think, is really valuable thing to have as a streamer and a content creator, especially and as a person in general. That patience is really important because when you have those certain, how can I put it very nicely, douchebags who come in who want to like ruin everything, that patience is really important to pay off, especially to make sure that you keep the community together and make sure everyone isn't out for blood as well. And
It,
yeah,
it's
it's
actually really funny that you mentioned trolls because believe it or not, I haven't really had that many, even though it's been over a year.
really.
I've had a couple people come in here and there, but it's never anything. It hasn't ever been anything bad. I had a guy come in a couple weeks ago, and he types all lowercase. He just types "you suck," and I think that's the worst it's ever gotten. And I would told my community I'm really upset right now, not because that guy came in and told me that I suck. It's that he didn't even put in the time and effort to be a good troll in my channel. Like
Yeah.
I would have really appreciated that opportunity to talk with the troll and kind of get under his skin a little bit or her skin and maybe find out what it is that's making them be the way they are. There's been plenty of instances I've been in other channels where trolls get turned into, religious viewers. It just depends on how you handle the situation.
Yeah. Well, I always find that patience is a really good first one, unless they come in there like, just come like 100% full throttle racism or homophobia or transphobia or something like that. In which case, I like to make a spectacle out of it. Make
Right.
fun of them. Ha ha, you're an idiot. Things like that. I always find those to be a lot of fun and just a fun spectacle to be able to have with the community and a great way to, I think, bond with the community as well as we're all pointing and laughing at the idiot who comes in the channel for sure. So so the aspect of your job you think brings in that patience with the community and figuring out what the community wants. So as you've been slowly and which you've been growing really steadily lately, and I'm super happy for you. How have you been dealing with the growing demands of your community?
It's it's been tough. It's a lot that I try to take on myself, but I'm starting to realize that you can't do this by yourself. You have to
For sure.
lean on your whatever connections you've made, whatever friends you have, whatever mods you've brought on board. You have to try to enlist as much help as possible
Right.
because you could walk around with a cell phone and just film yourself, and that's a show. But if you want to put on a well-oiled production, you have to have some help, and you just have to realize you can't do everything on your own.
Yeah. So how much have you been leaning into your mod staff?
I try to get as much advice from them as I can. It's one thing that I've preached since I started taking streaming really seriously, and I actually saw somebody tweet this out, was if your mods don't give you more shit than anybody else in your chat, you need better mods.
Right.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that. And it's not that they're giving you shit because they don't like you, it's because they care about you. They're teasing you, they want you to do better, and they'll
Yeah.
let you know.
Okay.
They're a really good sounding board, and I couldn't do what I do without the fantastic mods that I have.
Yeah, I always find a good mod team to be super, super important. And like you said, most of the time, most moderators that you bring on, and if you bring on really good moderators, they want to see you succeed and they want to see you go further and they want to see
Oh
you.
yeah.
They just want to see you. That's basically what it boils down to. They want to see you and they want to be able to see more of you.
Hmm.
So what's you're married, correct?
Yes, been
Yes.
married since 2007.
2007. Well, congratulations, my man.
Thank you.
That is awesome. And do you don't have any children, do you?
No, I
No.
have two cats, and they're enough.
Right. Oof, man. I tell you what, sometimes a child or a cat is just like a child. Man, so how does your spouse support you in the streaming endeavor?
She lets me do my thing, and she's not really into video games,
Right.
but she understands how important they are to me. But she is proud of what I do, and she lets people know, "Hey, my husband streams," and she, shows them the channel. Sometimes she'll pull it up while I'm live, and she happens to be out at a work dinner or something, and she's like, "This is my husband. This is what he's doing."
Oh man.
So, and she just kind of lets me do my own thing with it. There's things that happen, and I try to explain them, but she's got no frame of reference.
Right.
But she's excited for me nonetheless, and
Yeah.
I love her to death for that.
Well, it's such a great experience when your significant other, your spouse, the person whom you love also thinks that, hey, this is really freaking cool that you are doing something like this and I want to support you because the streaming at the beginning is a hobby, but at a certain point you are also going to be doing something good. You have the possibility to be doing something good, which is really exciting, which is really awesome as a content creator when you can see the good you're doing for the community and for everyone else. And to have a spouse who wants to support you in doing that is just such a heartwarming thing. And I'm always really happy when I hear on the podcast about how much the significant other wants to see you succeed.
And she's always told me that I should do something as far as content creation, and maybe do something on YouTube or have a podcast. And then this came along, and after a while, it just kind of clicked with me. I was like, I think I want to give this a really good shot. I want to try to turn this into something. Maybe turn this into my normal job as opposed to a 9 to 5 in someone's office.
Right. So what was that point where you decided that, hey, I want to pursue this instead of
I
just hobby wise?
I think it was when I think it was probably about 6 or 7 months in when I saw, month after month, more people were coming around and the numbers were starting to steadily go up. At that point, I had also enlisted the help of a stream coach, and that was absolutely phenomenal for me because in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
And I saw all these other people just growing and evolving, and I would watch their streams and I didn't really know what was going on, but then I got a stream coach and it helped me with a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that I didn't know I should be doing or maybe things that I should have been doing better or differently. And it's
Mm-hmm.
been absolutely fantastic. And I know there's a lot of negativity out there surrounding stream coaches, but um, baseball teams have coaches,
Oh,
wrestlers
for
have
sure.
coaches, voice singers have voice coaches. So
Oh,
this is
yeah.
no different. It's an
Oh,
art form, or you can view it as a sport. I mean, it's competitive. So why not get somebody to back you up
well,
and share some of that knowledge?
I think the fact that someone's able to make millions of dollars off of something like this is 100% definitely just perfectly fine with having a coach, someone to guide you along, someone to be like, hey, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, hey, you know what? I'm here for you. I know what I'm doing. And I have the proof to back it up. And here's how I want to help you to become better.
Right.
So who was this stream coach? If you feel comfortable with dropping their name,
This was Shadow Fox,
Shadow
and she
Fox.
had a. It's been put on hiatus for now because she's actually regrouped and is focusing on her own streaming.
Mm-hmm.
But for a while, it was called Next Step Streaming, and it is still around. It's just in limited capacity. But
Yeah.
it was absolutely fantastic, and I love Shadow to death, and she's helped me with so much.
Yeah. So, what are some of the important things that you learned from her?
The number one thing is networking, is meeting as many people as possible, trying to connect with them and build relationships, because that's ultimately what's going to carry you through on Twitch is getting to know everybody around you and just putting yourself out there.
Yeah. So when you are think wanting to go out and network and meet new people, how do you go about doing that? Like when you want to go and check out a new stream or a new streamer, how do you go about doing that?
It's for me, it's just kind of random. Sometimes I want to find somebody playing the same game as me. Sometimes I want to find somebody who maybe is similar to me in the way that I do things on my channel. And other times it's just I'm going to cruise around and find somebody random and see what they have to offer.
Right.
And there's so many content creators out there that there's never a shortage of meeting somebody new.
That is the truth. That is definitely the truth. And I love it. I love it. It's just being able to meet all of these new people, these new awesome people. And so when you go out to network with these people, what's that like? Like, are you like, hey, your content's amazing. I want to get to know you.
I just try to introduce myself in their chat. I'm like, "Hi, I'm new here," and I try to ask open-ended questions. I ask them about the game that they're playing and how they like it and things like that. I never want to ask a yes or no question because that's brevity and it ends the conversation right there.
100%. 100%.
And one thing I've learned over the years is that people really love talking about themselves. So if you ask about
For
them,
sure.
they're going to talk way longer than they would if you would talk about, the weather or something like that.
For sure. And that's that's a really good thing to do as a content creator. Remember that, guys. Open-ended questions. They're your lifeline. They should be your existence. So when meeting all of these cool new people, do you ever when you raid someone or when you go into their stream, do you ever try to how do you get them to turn around to be like, hey, here's who I am too? You know what I mean? Like, do you ever try to work in an angle on how you are as a streamer or something like that?
Well, I never talk about myself and my streaming unless they ask about it because it's their stream and I don't want to step on any toes.
Good
I
on
don't
you.
want to try and, I don't want it to be like I'm trying to steal viewers from them.
Good on
I'm
you.
there to meet a new person. I'm there to form a relationship. If anybody comes over and checks out my stream, that's their prerogative. I'm not forcing anybody to go anywhere.
Mm,
But I am there ultimately to see what you're all about and drop a follow if I like what you're doing and maybe continue the relationship from there.
that is good. That I like that a lot. Which is that unselfish quality, which is really really nice, and also common courtesy, which is really important.
Yeah.
Something I think that a lot of people sometimes lack a little bit on Twitch,
Well, there's
especially.
plenty. There's been plenty of times where I'll go in and let's say I'm in the middle of doing another Fallout run, and it comes up in conversation, and then everybody starts talking about me and asking me questions about Fallout. I tell them, hey, I really love playing Fallout, uh, but right now, I mean, I don't actually say it this way, but right now I'm here to watch this streamer, and you all should be doing the same because that's why you're here.
Yeah.
So try to steer the conversation back to the person that you came to see and just keep all the questions and stuff off of you. And then if they come into your chat, hey, that's the perfect time to answer those questions.
Yeah, I think that creates a stronger bond too. It's that aspect of an unselfish quality that people will be like, okay, he cares about me and the stream, so I like him more because of that. Not just because he's trying to get me to go and watch him, which is, I think, a really, really smart thing to do. So how much is this? How much has networking helped you out? Have you noticed? Is that where you've been noticing an increase of numbers
It's
rising steadily?
100%. It's every time I hang out in another stream and I go back a few times and I just kind of I don't want to say I don't even know really how to put it. I frequent streams and just hang out there and be myself. And sometimes those people will come in and they'll just start hanging around in my stream, and it's really all there is to it.
That's
And I'll
awesome.
still go in those older streams that I've been to, like back in the beginning, and the people that come over and have been in my channel for a while now, they still hang out in all the streams that they were hanging out in when I first met them. So I'm not really stealing anybody away from anybody. It's just that they liked what I had to say and how I was, and they decided to give me a chance and see what I was all about.
Well, if it makes you feel good, Beetle, I'm liking what you had to say right now too. This is good. I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Well, thank
It's
you.
well, it's really important. You know, it's really important for other people to be able to learn, especially with how brutal streaming can be sometimes, because it
Oh
can really
yeah.
take a toll on you. It really
Hmm.
can. So on those days where it does take a toll on you, what do you do when you in the stream and you're like, this wasn't good. You know, this wasn't what I was expecting, or I'm a little bit disappointed right now. How do you cope with that?
Well, in the beginning, it would be, I would not stream for another few days and drown my sorrows in some Haagen Dazs.
Mm,
But
that's a good
the
way.
way I look at it now is not every stream is going to be this uber crazy hype filled stream. Some of them are going to be pretty chill. Some of them are going to have lower numbers than you to, but you went live and you stayed live for X amount of hours, and that's all that really matters. It again all comes down to consistency. Yeah, it might not have been the best stream, but something may have happened. You may have impacted someone. You did have people there,
Right.
so you can never really look at a stream as a failure as long as if anybody came in and said anything, and even if you had nobody there, just stream like nobody's watching anyway, because you're going to need that practice. You're going to need to just keep at it and just do what you do.
Yeah.
And whether there's 100 people there or there's one person there, you just stream like nobody's watching. It's
Exactly.
that's the way I just try to look at it.
Yeah, which is super important. And as a streamer, you have to realize too, because you said not every stream is going to be hype. Not every stream is going to be awesome, and there may be a long period of time too where that's going to be the case, where you're going to have stretches of periods and time where things are just going to be a little bit more low key than usual. And then there are also going to be a lot of times where, stream after stream after stream is going to be the hypest, most bombastic thing in the world. So what is there anything else you do, like physical? Do you exercise, or do you go talk to someone? You're like talking to your moderator staff, or your wife, or even to your cats?
Oh, the cats don't want to hear what I have to say unless they're being fed.
Yeah, mine too.
Um, but I tend to just play video games on my own time to try to help me forget about
Ooh.
anything that might be clouding my judgment or making me feel bad. Um, and I know that Pikalin,
Mm-hmm. Great.
my best friend, and
Yes, want to get
we
her on here
talk
too.
about streaming back and forth literally every single day.
Right.
So, I mean, without her supporting me and without me supporting her, I don't think either of us would have gotten as far as we've gotten
Yeah. Well, that's
at this
super
point.
important. That's that. And I think making friends with other streamers is a really smart idea too, because you guys share that passion, that creativity, but also the struggle,
Right.
which it's that relationship that you can have between someone who just gets it, someone who just understands
Hmm.
the struggle and the torment that can happen on the inside sometimes, and also the happiness and the good times that can happen as well. I think a lot of new content creators just expect that everything should be perfect as a streamer, and if you're not doing perfect, you're not doing it right. But I think that to have the an enjoyable time with streaming, you gotta sometimes just have those days where things just don't work out, and the ability to talk to someone is a really powerful thing, and that's definitely what's been helping me keep going as a streamer. And and even when I watch your streams too, I always just go in there and I'm like, whenever I had a bad stream, I go into your stream and I'm like, here's a guy I'm watching, he's passionate and he's just having a good time right now. And you can absolutely tell that you're always having a good time when you stream.
And it's funny you should say that because I don't think there's ever been a time when I've wandered into your chat and thought to myself, "Man, things are really dead in here." I always have a good time when I show up in your stream.
And I
You're always
appreciate
having
that.
fun, and it's been absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad you rated me that one day.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too. That was what were you playing at the time? I don't even remember. Like, it was it Fallout? I think it might
I
have.
think it was Fallout. I
Yeah.
think you had been playing at the time too, and you just came over, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" It was kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Well, you're a big Fallout buff, right? Like, cause like, obviously looking behind you, you got a lot of Fallout themed paraphernalia, and obviously that cool laser pistol, the custom engraved laser pistol. So, what's your favorite Fallout game?
Um, I really enjoyed 3. The story in 3 I think was way better than 4,
Oh
honestly.
yeah, well, yeah, four for sure was it was an okay game, and then you have 76, which
I don't want to talk about 76.
yeah.
I actually I hung my hat on 76 and I was so disappointed with it. But from what I hear, there's been a lot of changes and I just haven't gotten around to trying it out again. So
Well, you know what's
it's on my
funny?
list.
I've actually been playing it again, and I'm unironically having fun with it, which I think, which I'm scared for myself because I'm like, is something wrong with me? Am I okay right now? And I'm just like, I'm still playing it, and I'm just having a good time with it. So you talked earlier that you play video games to on your off time to help you sort of decompress. What kind of games are you playing right now, man?
Right now, I've gotten back into Division 2 again, and I'm
Yeah.
having a lot of fun with it. I mean, I stopped. I only got to level 12 when I played it initially, and I only played it on stream, and I only played it for about 2 weeks,
Right.
and you can't make much progression in that time. So I was like, oh, I'm never going to progress with this, and I just kind of put it down. But then I picked it up again actually this past weekend, and I've gone from 12 to 20 in like a
Ooh,
day.
dang.
So
Someone's been
I've been
grinding it out.
playing a lot, and I'm hooked on it again, and I think I'm going to start
Yeah.
streaming it again.
Yeah, well, it's a good game. It's a fun game to play. Are you playing anything else besides the Division?
Well, I just finished up another run of Skyrim,
Yeah.
and
Oh
I
man,
I love some Skyrim,
I think we all do.
especially modded. You got to mod it till it breaks.
Oh yeah. Are you if you're not really playing Skyrim until you have at least 1,000 mods warning and something somewhere breaks and you had to go through with all of those thousands of mods and figure out what it was, then you're really playing the true game of Skyrim at that point,
Yes.
for sure.
When you're battling the actual game itself, that's when it's become a challenge.
Yeah, and I think I've been battling that actual game itself since 2011 when it came out. Good lord, all of the bugs. Those are fun times though. Man, oh man. So when you play these games and you're decompressing and you're just having a good time, what do you are you coming up with any ideas for the stream? Do you dedicate some time to sit down and like, okay, here are some ideas I want to work on?
Oh, I'm always coming up with ideas and trying like I'll hear something or somebody will say something or I'll be in another stream and see somebody do something or say something. I actually have a notebook that I carry around with me everywhere and
Ooh.
it's filled with just every little thought that I have about streaming, like, hey, maybe I could make a sound command for this sound that I heard like one line in a movie. That could be really fun.
So
And I'll
you're sitting there in the middle of a movie theater with your wife and you're like, okay, I'm gonna write that this sounds good, this sounds good. Okay, yeah, okay.
yeah, I mean it could be anything. It could be a sound clip from like I could be 2 rooms away, like maybe getting dinner ready, and Mrs. Beats is watching like Real Housewives, or she's watching RuPaul's Drag Race or something, and I'll hear a one-liner, and I'll turn that into a sound clip for my channel.
God, I love
So you know,
that.
and you never know when inspiration is going to strike, and I'm terrible at remembering things, so I always want to be ready. So I always have this notebook with me, and I just write stuff down as soon as I hear it or think it.
Man, so how full is that notebook right now?
I'm gonna need a new one soon.
Dang. How many have you
There's gonna
gone
be
through? Is this
volumes, I think.
is this the first one you've gone through?
Yeah, I only started doing this in the last few months, but it's getting pretty full already.
Dang. And so how many of those ideas do you implement? Do you like implement every
I
idea?
try to implement as many as I think will actually work. But if I learned anything from listening to your last podcast with Egg, it's that you've got to take all kinds of chances. So I think I'll just toss things out there and see what works. And if it doesn't, then you can always just take it down.
Well, let me tell you something. The most important critics are your audience, your own audience. The people there, you're gonna play that sound clip and they're gonna be like, "What? No, God, that's awful." And you're just like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, it's awful." And you're like, "I thought it was the funniest thing ever." But it's just that's what sticks. Sometimes the things that you think are funny stick, and sometimes they don't. In my case, most of the time they don't.
But you
So
have to take that chance.
yeah, exactly. You got to take the chance. And like we said last week, sometimes, people don't take enough chances. And you got to just push yourself out there. Got to do it. Got to just be like, I'm going full steam ahead. And God help anyone who gets in my way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So have you ever been to a convention?
I went to TwitchCon last year.
Oh my God, I'm pro jealous of you. Are you going this year?
Absolutely.
Oh man.
And
So
it's in San Diego, and I live in Los Angeles, so it's only a 3 hour drive. So I'll be saving on airfare.
I'm so jealous of you. That was one of the, yeah, I couldn't afford to go this year, which makes me really sad. But I'm fingers crossed for 2020. Fingers crossed. So what
Well, I
was
will
some of
see you
the
there if you go.
Oh, absolutely you will. So what are some of the things that you enjoyed from TwitchCon?
Oh, I met so many people. Like I don't even know where to begin with how many people I met. I brought home so many business cards and shook so many hands. It was absolutely fantastic.
So
And
was this
now I've met all these people over the last year since then, and some of them are going this year, and it's their first TwitchCon. So I'm really excited. Like I have mods going that haven't gone before, and it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it just really solidifies that sense of community, but also the networking that we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You because you get to actually meet people face to face and people that you probably would have never met had you not gone to TwitchCon.
And
So,
one of the biggest things you can do at TwitchCon is take chances.
yeah.
So Um, I went around and signed up for not everything. So when I'm going to talk about sponsorship for a minute, just because it ties into the story. So if you're looking to be sponsored by someone, don't sign up for every single sponsorship under the sun. What you want to do with your sponsorship is you want it to be genuine and you want it to be with a company or brand that you actually use and enjoy and can see yourself talking about. So with that being said, while I was at TwitchCon, I actually went up to the crew at Corsair, and I was like, you know what? I'm a low level streamer. Like I'm still triple digit follows at the time. I think had just hit 700 when I went to TwitchCon, and I was like, I don't know what they're going to see in me, but I'm going to go over there and I'm going to fill out an application and see what they have to say. And they got so many, it took them forever to get back to everyone. And they had let everybody know, hey, we're sorting through applications. We'll get back to you when we can. Um, about 2 months after TwitchCon, maybe even three, I got an email one day and they were like, hey, welcome aboard. We want you to work with
Wow.
us. I was like, are you kidding me? Like I had written it off because I hadn't heard from them. But
Wow.
I love Corsair. I love their products, and I have my almost my entire PC setup is all Corsair stuff. And I went in, I was myself. I told them I love your stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, we want to work with you."
That
So
is
you have
freaking
to be willing to
awesome.
take those chances, even though you may be thinking, "Well, what could they possibly see in me?"
Wow. That is awesome though. And I guess they saw something. They saw something, which is awesome because I see something in you too. Every time I come by your stream, like I said, it's just something great. You really do have something great working there, man. You really, really
Well,
do.
thank you, thank you.
And every time I stop by there, I feel invigorated. And I don't chat very much, but I'm always lurking in the background and just listening to you, talk is just because you got that voice too. You got that voice. That's just that smooth voice, and I love it. And listening to it is just relaxing, and it's just nice. It is really nice, and I'm sure everyone
I actually
who's
had someone earlier today tell me that I have a radio voice. So,
see, it's important.
and believe it or not, that's actually something I've been looking into recently to maybe kind of start shying away from the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of friends that are into they do voice acting,
Ooh.
and they've been like, "Oh yeah, you should do this." So I'm actually starting to look into that a little bit. Maybe just putting a few demos out there. Maybe doing some freelance stuff for LibriVox recordings, things like that.
Right. Well, funnily enough, this is a podcast that hasn't been released yet, but will be released by the time this one comes out. But I recently talked to someone who has done a little bit of voice acting here and there on different kinds of projects. So maybe I could try and link you two together, and you two can talk to each other about that.
That would be fantastic. So you guys put yourself out there. You never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And that's actually something I've been wanting to get into myself is voice acting. But I'm also really enjoying what I'm doing with this podcast. So I don't know, honestly, anymore. But it's always just that aspect of trying something new. That's what I wanted to do with this podcast. And here I am. Here we are. And that's what makes this exciting. And I wanted to reach out to you, and you were like, yes, let's do it. And I'm like, yes, this is beautiful. And that's what makes being a content creator a lot of fun. It's just the relationships you get to make with other people, with other content creators. So what are some of the other fun experiences that you had at TwitchCon?
Well, the parties are always fantastic.
Ooh.
I went to the Warframe party while I was there, and
Oh.
they gave away so much crazy stuff. They gave away like statues and they gave away in-game content, and
What
it
the
was just
heck?
a lot of dancing and loud music, and it's totally opposite of what you would expect from like a gaming convention.
Wow.
Most people would think, you get a bunch of gamers together, all they're going to do is sit around and game.
I am like
But I
so
mean,
freaking jealous.
I've been to a few PAXs, and I've been to TwitchCon, I've gone to E3, I've gone to GDC. So
Wow.
I've been to all kinds of conventions, and they're all different, but when it comes down to it, I don't want to sound cliche and say they're all the same, but they are. There's a lot of community involved, and it's just a lot of fun to meet
Yeah.
all these different people, the devs and the corporations behind it. People say corporations don't care, but they really do.
Yeah.
And they put a lot of work and time and effort into the things that they give us to either stream with or stream around. And I don't know, I don't know of a better way to describe any of it other than it's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, they're just such amazing experiences. I always find myself coming recharged out of them too. You
Yeah,
like
it's like
it's
going away for a retreat or something like that.
yeah, and I've the creative juices start flowing, and the passion comes back even brighter. It's just such a beautiful experience, guys. If you have the chance, always go to a convention if you can afford it, and if you can, go to a convention. They are so much fun, and just the brevity of people that you can meet, the all different kinds of creators, is just amazing. It is so amazing, so amazing. And then after that, like a week after TwitchCon, didn't you go to BlizzCon?
I did. I did.
Yeah, with
It was a lot of that
Pikamin.
was a lot of fun too. BlizzCon is, I mean, I'm not really into a lot of Blizzard games. Like I played Warcraft, and I had a level 22 character, and all he could do was go fishing and make leather goods. And
Mm,
so I had no idea what was going on, and I gave that up fairly quickly.
right.
But the community around BlizzCon was absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
So much happening there,
yeah,
and there's just people in costume, and it blew me away. Like it's specific. It's a specific community, um, even more specific than the gaming community itself. So there's so much more camaraderie, I guess. Not that there's none at TwitchCon or anything like that, but if you go to like a BlizzCon, that's a really tight knit community. Like everybody gets all the in jokes, and they all that common thread of all the Blizz games that they play.
right.
And it was absolutely fantastic um just to see guilds getting together and people meeting for the first time that maybe they've played together for years and they never met before. That was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think this ties into what you said, that they are the same, but they're also kind of, you can feel the difference in energy, so to speak. It's that kind of BlizzCon obviously isn't the same as TwitchCon, but they're the same community and energy wise. That sense of community and that sense of belonging amongst people,
Right.
which is
Yeah, no, it was absolutely fantastic.
yeah, and I always find just looking at that, it's just so heartwarming. The friendships that have been built on years of playing video games or watching other streams, or when you're like you said, your moderators are going to go out to TwitchCon. That's just awesome. That's really cool that these people get to meet in this one centralized location where everyone is excited about the same thing. They're excited about the same thing, which is really just so freaking cool. It's so freaking awesome. And so I'm going to go ahead and pivot away from this real quick. So last week, Twitch came out with a new feature that's in beta right now, which is the subs only stream.
Mm,
You've heard about that, right?
yes.
Yeah. So do you ever plan on using that? Do you plan on maybe giving it a try?
I don't know what I would do with it specifically, but one thing that I saw somebody say was it's always nice to have options.
Right.
So that's what I'm kind of looking at it as. Like, I'm not sure how I would incorporate it into my stream per se, but I can see how some people would want to use it as a reward for their communities, like a sub only stream. Like, if you're subbing, then you can watch this like beta kind of stream that I'm doing, like to test out maybe new overlays or some new material you've been working on, or working out the bugs in getting VR going and just taking your closest community members and their feedback. And then it's also a way of rewarding the people that support you more than just showing up to the stream.
Right.
Um, but I personally, it when they announced it, it's not something that I've really wanted, and I don't know if I'm going to use it. But at least the option's there, so it's something to kind of tuck away into the back of my mind or in my notebook.
Right. Ooh.
And if and when something ever crosses my mind, like, hey, I could do this to just reward my subs, then by all means, I'll take advantage of it. And it's nice to have that option.
Right. Which is, yeah, that's good on you for having that kind of opinion where it's just the option. So I've seen a lot of people get really up in arms about it. And at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Because, they could be working on something more important. But at the same time, it's nice to have the option. It's nice to be able to reward the community in some aspect or another, especially if you're a larger community with a lot of subs and you're just like, hey, I want to do something nice for them and I want to reward them with a stream that only they can watch, which would make it special. And so also I got to ask you a question. What's your opinion on eating on stream?
On what is it?
Eating on stream.
Oh, eating. Well, when that whole controversy happened, I'm sure you saw my stream where I had an impromptu eating stream.
Oh my God. Listen, guys, I was watching this man right here stick a whole ass tangerine in his mouth and then just gone. It was gone. It was gone. It was magic. It was honestly magic. I don't know how he did it. I'm really scared. Every time I look at that clip, I'm just like, I get chills down my spine, man. Chills. But
don't leave out the part where I drank a 12-ounce jar of gravy.
Excuse me?
Did you not see that part?
I didn't see that part. No, what?
Oh, yeah. So I had stopped at the grocery store on the way home from work that day to stock up to do this impromptu eating stream. And one of the things that I had intended on eating was a yellow squash. And they neglected to put it in the bag at checkout.
What the heck?
So I had this whole regimen planned out. And I tried to compensate with something else. And I ran to the kitchen real quick. And the first thing I found was a jar of gravy. I'm like, well, I like gravy, so I just kind of tossed it into the mix, and that seems to be what resonated the most with everybody.
Wow. I'm scared, but at the same time, I need to see this now. I need to go and watch this. I know what I'm doing after this podcast real quick.
It's actually been set up as a chat command now. If you go into the chat and type exclamation gravy time, it'll bring up the clip.
Give me that gravy. Just pour it down my... Oh, man. I'm excited. I want to go and watch that. And it's hilarious. See, it's the cool things that you can do like that just make streaming so fun. That's just unconventional versus television or YouTube videos. It's just, you can do it on the spot. You can do it live. And you could make up things on the fly, which makes it so much fun.
And that's when the magic happens, because you never know when it's going to work out. You could do something on the fly and it's a bomb, or you could do something on the fly and it's... I mean, I'm not going to drink a 12-ounce jar of gravy every time I go live, right? But that's a moment we'll always have. Well,
actually, I don't want to say stole, but I appropriated an idea from you, which is the Bean Boozled, which is a lot of fun, and I've been suffering slowly on the inside from Bean Boozled and kind of dying.
It's kind of a curse and a blessing at the same time. Everybody wants to see you do the Bean Boozled, but at the same time, it's kind of rough.
I can't handle another stink bug right now.
Oh, those are the worst.
Yeah, listen, when I first did that, someone donated a lot of money and I had to eat so many beans in a row. And I'm not kidding. Every single one of those in a row, they were all bad. They were all just awful. I was like wanting to cry. I was like crying over here. And I'm like, please end my suffering. But no, it just kept going and going.
Well, we were keeping a running tally at one point, and at one point we had hit 21 Bean Boozled, and I think only one of them had been good at that point.
Oh my God, you poor
man!
And
then the number crept up to 44, and I think only 5 had been good at that point. So the odds were not in my favor. So it's something I still do, but I kind of expect it now because they've been so bad.
Yeah.
And I think my community is actually starting to catch on to it. And they're like, well, we kind of want to see you do other things now. And I'm like, well, I really like the Bean Boozled. And I'm like, yeah, but you get all bad ones. So we need to see you do something else.
We need to see you suffer in some other form and fashion, please. And thank you.
and I'm willing to oblige. I want to keep my community entertained, and if eating terrible beans is what it's going to take, then I'm more than willing to do it.
Yeah. So the aspect of streaming, where do you see Twitch in like a year or 5 years?
Oh, I don't even know. It's changed so much. When I was listening to you talk about how it's changed since 2014. Um, I I don't even. It's changed so much since I started over a year ago, and I can't even imagine where it's going to be in the next 5 or 10 years. It's going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah. Do you think Twitch will still be around?
It may be around in a different medium. Hopefully, something doesn't come along to replace it. I hope that Twitch sticks around and they evolve with the times. But there's always that opportunity that somebody's going to launch something that's different and better, and everybody's just going to emigrate over there. So
Yeah, agreed. And that's always the possibility. But I feel like Twitch will definitely be a mainstay in some form or fashion, kind of like YouTube is right now.
yeah,
But it's always fun for me to look at the parallels between what YouTube was, what YouTube is now, what Twitch was, what Twitch is now. And then you look at all of the other live streaming services as well, like Mixer or D Live or Facebook Gaming or even YouTube's own live streaming service. Have you ever considered switching over to another platform, or has Twitch just been your darling?
well, this is my first foray into the world, so I'm going to stick with Twitch for a while. Um, I'm not sure if I would try anything else. I'd have to. To be honest, I haven't really checked out any of it, so I would have to go and see what the platforms were all about before I tried something different.
Right.
And I think I want to do that sooner rather than later, so I'm not cutting my nose to spite my face.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I made my move over to Mixer, I was just like, I don't know what this is, but sure, I'll give it a try real quick. And then I stayed there for 8 months and came back to Twitch. Better person, I think. I learned a lot while I was over there, and I've taken that lessons and I've applied it to being here on Twitch. And I think it's been an interesting journey as a content creator so far. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do as a content creator and as a streamer and as a person. And it's following these journeys that is the reason why I've made this podcast, is because I want to listen to your story and I want to listen to everyone's story and how you continue to adapt, survive, and just your life in general, which I
Yeah,
think is
it's been a crazy ride, and I'm really excited where everybody's going to wind up. It's not excitement for just me, but excitement for all the people that you're getting to know people that are at the same level as you, and everybody growing together, maybe not necessarily at the same pace, but spread out over the same timeline, just seeing how everybody grows and alongside each other and holding each other up and offering advice and sounding things off of each other.
yeah.
It's been absolutely phenomenal, and I can't wait to see what happens over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and the people you've met for sure has just been it's just been amazing. The people you meet along the way, like I know for a fact that my streaming career would be a lot less if it wasn't for the people that I've met, such as yourself, and such as the people I've interviewed on this podcast so far, and even my own community, the people that in fact my life in general, not even just my streaming career, but my life in general would be less right now if it wasn't for the world of content creation and for streaming. And do you think you've become a better person because of all of this?
Oh, hands down. Like there's so many more things that I take into account on a daily basis now, because it's not going to affect just me. It's going to affect people around me. And I think streaming helped me realize that more than I already knew.
Yeah.
Like I would always try to, keep everybody's best interest in mind, but sometimes that's not enough. It's more actions than words.
Right. Right. And so what aspect of yourself would you say has improved more?
Um, I think I've become a lot more honest because people can tell when you're lying to them.
You're right.
So being honest and open and upfront with people is one of the better ways to go when you're streaming and
Right.
when you're and just life in general.
Yeah. Yeah. That aspect of being open with your community and having them understand who you are, not the person that you want them to think you are, but who you are as a person. Now, obviously, for some people, the actor really works well, like Dr. Disrespect. But I think for a majority of streamers, it's that connections, the genuine connections that you can make with other people, which I think is
100%.
just amazing. And all the friends that I'm able to talk to and play video games with now, it's just so awesome. It really, really is. So your bread and butter is single player games, right? Single player video games.
I do mostly play single player. I think I want to start branching out and doing multiplayer though. See, the only reason that I think I'm so entrenched in single player games is that's all I had when I was a small little beetle.
Right.
So multiplayer is uh, I spent a lot of time in Modern Warfare 2 chat rooms.
Oh
So
man.
that that'll put hair on your chest.
Yeah, that's
So
brutal days. You know, a
having
13-year-old telling you how much they fucked your mom and stuff.
I know, I know. I have no idea who my dad is now because be any of those 13-year-olds.
God, and now those 13-year-olds are 23-year-olds or
So now they're old enough to
24-year-olds.
pay me child support.
Exactly. See, so now you're now you're getting the good. Now, see, it's all coming together now. It's all working out. It's man, it's scary looking back at the day though, because I remember when Let's Plays were popular, and now it's all streaming and Ninja, and it's just like wow, my brain is spinning looking at all of this different kinds of ways that the medium has changed. And so you're and no offense, but you're a bit of an older fella, bit of an older
Yeah,
one. So
I'm taken.
how like seeing all of these changes that are happening, going from conventional media like television to YouTube to Twitch to whatever is going to be the next greatest thing beyond Twitch. How's that been? What's been what's been your thoughts behind all of this?
I've kind of just rolled with the punches. I've seeing these things grow and develop hasn't they haven't really shocked me. It's just I can't even imagine life now without these things being here.
Right.
Like we'll take Facebook for example. Like I remember when Facebook had come out and all my friends were telling me, "You need to switch to Facebook. You need to switch to Facebook." And I was vehement. I was like, "I'm going to stay on MySpace because why do I need to change?" And then everybody was on Facebook and nobody was on MySpace anymore, so I switched over to Facebook. And it made me realize that as much as you want to stick with something that you may be familiar with and is kind of a staple on the world of the internet, you're going to have to learn to change and adopt those new things. And I think that circles back to what you were saying before about the different streaming services out there. I really need to check those out and see what they're all about
Right.
because who knows what the next big thing is going to be.
Yeah.
There were plenty of my friends that were on Facebook before I was, and then now I can't imagine not being on Facebook
Yeah.
because
And
it's something that everybody has.
it's making sure that you keep an eye out, staying ahead of the trends, basically, when it comes to
Yeah, and that's
man.
not always easy.
No, it's not. It's always looking like, man, what are people gonna be? What's gonna be the next Fortnite? You know, who's
Right,
gonna be the next
right.
ninja? It's it's exhausting work, but at the same time, it's kind of satisfying when you do manage to get ahead of the trend as well. Like in my case, I thought the trend was gonna be Anthem for a little while, and then kind of womp womp. You know, Anthem was kind of a big piece of poo at the end of the day, which is very
But you
unfortunate.
never know. You have to take that chance. I mean,
Exactly.
Anthem was it was good for a hot minute, and everybody got some new follows and some numbers out of that, and eventually it kind of fizzled. But there's still people that probably come around from whenever that game was played, and it's a building block. You just
Yeah.
have to look at it that way.
Yeah. So speaking of the numbers, I know a lot of people get a sense of satisfaction out of them. What's some of the most satisfying things you get out of streaming?
Most satisfying things?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really enjoy sharing my gaming experience with my community because I tend to yell a lot and make fun of the game as I play it. And I like to make fun of myself also because I'll do some off the wall things and I've always enjoyed entertaining people. So I get the gratification of making someone's day better.
Right. Yeah.
It helps them forget maybe something bad that happened to them.
Yeah. And so what are some of the things that you want to improve on as a streamer and a content creator?
I definitely want to improve on my networking because I think I've kind of let that fall by the wayside because things have been kind of crazy both at work and the growth of the channel.
Right.
So I need to get back into that again, and I just want to improve the experience of the stream, like building up the behind the scenes stuff, as well as working on finding ways to make my streams a little bit longer. Because the way my streams are now, they start once they start rolling, it's time for me to end
Right.
because my time is so short. So I need to try to find a way to either go live a little bit earlier or maybe go a little bit later.
Yeah. And so
Um,
what's your ideal length for a stream that you want to eventually push towards?
I'd like to hit at least 4 hours. My Sunday streams are 4 hours, and they do really well. And then my weekday streams are 3.
Hmm.
And I feel like once I end at my normal time, it's always I always get the same thing. I always get a bunch of people in the chat, and they're all typing no with like several O's at the end. And
No.
I would love nothing more than to keep going, but I have to keep my well being in mind. You know, I have to have dinner. I have to rest before I go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning the
Right.
next day. So I have to take all that into account. So trying to find that extra time to improve the stream is always really tough. And I think time management is something that I really need to work on too.
Yeah. Time management is always just the craziest thing. I always find too that I like sometimes I'm able to pull out a really long stream, and lately I've only been able to do like maximum 3 hour, 4 hour streams just because I'm so tired because of school and everything else that I have to get done. So yeah, it's a brutal thing to have to go through though, is trying to figure out just time. It's like, where can we get more time? I need it, especially as
And
when you just want to do more streams, more energy too, man. Sometimes the energy is where it's at.
and that's one thing I want to do is just make sure I have the energy for my community. Like if you're and I will preach this from the mountaintops. If you're not feeling it, don't go live because your community will pick up on that. If you have somebody wander into your channel for the first time and you're not feeling your stream, if you weren't sure about going live in the first place, they're going to pick up on that and they may never come back.
Yeah, and that's just it's such an important thing. Take care of yourself first, because nobody wants to watch someone who is poopy pants, basically,
Right.
who
Right.
who, who doesn't want to be there.
You have
Because
to take care of yourself because you are your stream. And if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're essentially not taking care of your stream either.
yeah, it's like what yeah, because it's like, why do I want to be there if you don't want to be there?
Right.
And it's a tough balance for a streamer to have. It really, really is a tough balance. So if there's one thing that you could take for yourself right now, the biggest lesson that you've learned, and bring it back to first day Beats, or whenever he started to get more serious, would that be the networking lesson?
The one thing I would take away is um, don't compare yourself to anybody else. And I
Ooh.
know it sounds cliche, and it's the old saying, run your own race. Um, your worst day is going to be someone else's best day.
Right.
Like you could have really really low numbers and hardly anybody turned out, and you were having technical issues. Somebody else is going to see that stream and be like, "Wow, I wish that was me. I really wish I was there doing that."
Man, I
And it's all relative. Like there are people who come to me and they say, "I really wish I had what you have." And then I look at the other streamers that are they have higher numbers than I do, and I'm like, "I really wish I could be there." But you know what? They started right where I am now. So it's all relative. You can't compare yourself to somebody else. You have to control what you can control. Um you have to keep it to yourself. Not like cloistered and secretive, but you have to realize that you can't control what goes on in other channels. You have to take responsibility for your channel and not wish for it. You just have to make it happen.
yeah, that's really profound. It's something I struggle with too. Sometimes it's, man, what am I doing wrong? What are they doing so right? How are they doing it? I think comparing yourself, but learning, you shouldn't compare yourself, but learn from them. What are they
Right.
doing right? Why are they doing this right?
maybe
Why do
start a
they?
notebook and write those things down.
Yeah, maybe start a notebook, guys. And then, you know what, Beetle, you could release that as a compendium one day, to like the new streamer survival guide or something. Which I think,
Full of typos and shorthand.
see, it'd be perfect. And then people, that's half the fun. They're gonna have to decipher it. All right, that's the challenge. If you actually want to become a true streamer. But anyways, Beetle, this has been a really great podcast, man.
It's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. I want to have you on again, though. I want to have you on again.
Sure, we could do like a 1-year check-in or something.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun. You know what? 1 year is too long for me, though. We'll figure it out again sometime in the future, though. We'll figure it out.
Oh,
again
sure,
sometime in the
absolutely.
Future. So when can people check you out? When can people catch you?
When? Sundays 6 to 10 Pacific, and Monday through Thursday from 4 to 7 Pacific.
And where can they catch you?
They can catch me at Twitch TV/BeetleBombTV.
And do you have a Twitter or Instagram or anything like that?
I do. I have Twitter. I have Instagram. I also have TikTok, which I haven't really done anything with yet. I just wanted to procure the name, but everything is the same. BeetleBombTV.
There you go, guys. Well, thank you so much, Beetle, for coming on the podcast and for sharing your life and your content creation with us. I really appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you having me, and I can't wait to see where you go too, man.
Well, thank you very much. Neither can I, honestly. All right, bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good night, guys.
Well, that was another fantastic podcast. Thank you so much, BeetleBomb, for coming on to the podcast. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. And guys, I hope that you enjoyed him as much as I did. Guys, make sure to check him out, though. Twitter.com/BeetleBombTV, Twitch.tv/BeetleBombTV. He's an awesome guy. Love him to death. He is cool. You need to check him out. And guys, if you don't already know, make sure to come and check me out. You can find these on YouTube and on Spotify, maybe iTunes one day if they decide they like me again, whenever that decides to happen. And of course, you can always catch me on Twitch.tv/InjuredWaffles. Guys, I will see all of you on the next podcast. Goodbye.